Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Talking Tradesman. I have Lily with me today in the studio from Painting with Lily. Lily, let's talk.
Hello, thank you for having me, Russ.
Absolute pleasure, mate. I really appreciate you making the effort to come down. Right then, mate. Let's get things started. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do?
Yeah. So I am a paint and decorating apprentice still currently. I should be coming out my time soon though, fingers crossed.
How far into it are you? Just out of interest.
18 months now.
Okay.
So I should be coming out my time in summer. I'm not sure what the full plan is yet. I do want to start taking on some of my own jobs, but then I'm not going to fully leave Andy yet because I'd miss him too much, I think.
Andy's a diamond, to be fair. Big shout out, Andy.
Yeah, that didn't take long. There you go, and
Did he ask you beforehand, like, make sure you give me a shout out?
No, but I did say to him, I was like, will you be waiting for your mention? He was like,
straight in there with it, Andy.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, I'm 19, actually, quite young. I think Russ said I might be the youngest person that's come on so far.
You are the youngest person. Yeah.
But for a 19-year-old, I'd like to say I've been and bought a t-shirt, maybe even two. But yeah, I'm originally from Yorkshire. York, actually, the Yorktown.
Okay.
But I relocated due to like my mum meeting someone else, and he was from Greater Manchester, so that's where I am now. But for
Great, is that like Bolton type area?
Yeah, Bolton. Yeah, that's where I live, literally in Bolton.
Okay, you live in Bolton.
Yeah.
So is that like where Andy works?
Yeah,
is it around the Bolton area?
We do cover like Manchester, but most of our clients are like quite close, like in Bolton area. But I was born and raised in Yorktown, and I do go back, like, because I've still got family there. Like, my real dad still lives in York.
Okay.
Cut that out. All I've got in I can't get my sentences out.
Take a moment.
So in Bolton, I've got my mum and then my stepdad and my little brother and sister. And then in York is like my whole family. So it is kind of hard to like be somewhere where it's like you've not got your aunties to just pop round and do you know what I mean?
What age did you move to Bolton?
So it's actually like a bit of a whirlwind. Like it all seems like mushed into one because I've been back and forth.
Yeah.
So I came over initially in 2016, I want to say.
Okay.
So I will have been.
You're making me do maths here now, Lil. I'm trying to work out. It's around about 10.
I think, or maybe I was about 12. Might have been 2018. See, I'm really bad at this, at like dates and stuff. But yeah, I was in year 8 or year 7, one of them years, but I don't actually know. But anyway, I came over to Bolton when I was preteen, let's say.
Yeah.
Preteen. And my mum tried putting me in a school in Bolton.
That's quite a tough age to move schools, isn't it, to be fair, because people have got like their little cliques by then.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it was really tough. And I think that's why I ended up like not finishing school, because when I started the new school, people just didn't really take to me very well. I don't know what it was. Like, my mum was like, oh, they're just jealous, Lil, you just concentrate on your schoolwork. But it got to the point where, like, I would go to the teacher and I just felt like they weren't listening to me. I think I lasted in the school for about 6 months before I just, like, I walked out one day and my mum was like, right, okay, Lil, you don't have to go back.
Really?
Yeah, the thing that actually pushed me out was we were all on a break one day and there was hospitality. Is that even a word? Hostility.
Hostility. There we go. You made me think then. I was thinking hospitality. I'm thinking, no, that's when they bring you food.
Yeah. So there was that. Like, you could just tell that, like, people just didn't want me there. But I did make a few friends, but they were boys. So then the girls didn't like that I got on with the boys. But the boys were the only people who wanted to talk to me. So at this point, it was like, I just don't want to be here anyway. I don't even know what had happened. It was something that, like, some boy had added me on Snapchat and this girl who was talking to him had found out, like, something as stupid as that. And I was stood in this, like, tennis court, you know, like, in the school grounds, like, on the playground, whatever you want to call it. And I just remember turning round and like it were raining and I had my pink umbrella that I'd just got for my birthday. And like I turned around and there was about 30 girls all just coming over to me, like swarming this like tennis court. And yeah, and I was just stood there on my own, like, what have I done? And then I just remember like 3 or 4 of them having a go at me. And then they started piping up and they started piping up. And I was just there like this. And I used to do this all the time with my hair because I was on edge. And then like I looked over and there was a girl going like that, like, you know, to wind me up. So I started walking like around the edge of all these people to escape and just go home. And as I was walking out, like they started throwing food at me and stuff, like calling me a slag or whatever, like saying that I'm a pick-me girl. So anyway,
I don't even know what that means.
It's like, I think people use the phrase pick me girl as in like, oh, you are an attention seeker, like you do that for the boys to look at you. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
okay.
a bit like pick me, choose me,
Got you,
like just in people's face. Even though I weren't like that at all. Like when I was 13, 14, believe it or not, I was actually quite timid. Like I actually was. And it took me a lot to come out my shell after all that, like been picked on for 6 months. But after that incident in the playground, I walked out. Yeah, because they broke my umbrella and everything. I remember one of the girls like took my umbrella off me, and it was from Victoria's Secret as well. I can exactly remember what it looked like. Well, it was only like 6 years ago, so I should remember, unless I've got early stages of dementia. But yeah, that sort of was a lesson to start sticking up for myself, because now looking back on it, I wish I'd have just said, who are you? Do you know what I mean? But I never did. I just like kept in my shell and just walked off while they all abused me and were hurling shit at me. But so I've walked out anyway, I've gone home, like had a mental breakdown to my mum, and like my mum was there for me, but like my stepdad was like, oh, like I think you should still try go to school, but like my mum understood where I was coming from, and it all just sort of caused like a bit of a riff at home as well, and like my mum at this point had like a toddler and a newborn as well, so she had a lot on.
Yeah.
And obviously my stepdad, well, it's not obvious because I haven't told you, but my stepdad runs a business as well, so he's like got a lot on his plate. And I felt like I was just in the way a little bit and like a bit of a burden, like because I weren't happy.
Yeah, it's tough though, Lily, isn't it? I mean, I've been through it myself, and like my kids have been through it as well. But I don't think people really talk about how difficult that can be, where parents move on, they like remarry and then start a new family.
Yeah.
And when you're, for want of a better expression, like left over from the last relationship, it can, like as a kid, feel like you don't belong.
Yeah, and like I think as well, like I was more like that because I actually have an older brother who's 21, and when we moved over to Bolton, he decided not to come with us. So with my mum like moving over here with the new man that she's met and had a kid with, 2 kids with, I sort of lost my brother along the way, and I didn't see him as much in like them teenage years. So he stayed with my real dad in York. And then, like, after all that went on with school and stuff, I didn't want to go back to school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Lockdown happened. And then in lockdown, I decided to go back to York. And I didn't want to stay in the house with my stepdad, really. Like, I just didn't really get on with him. Like, we were having arguments quite a lot. And I felt sorry for my mum that I was putting on her. And,
So when you decided not to go back to school, what happened? So would that have been like your exam year? Was it 15, 16 years old, maybe?
No, so I think I was just turning like 50, maybe. I think I was about to pick my options.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I never picked them.
So you never went back after that
No,
at all?
No.
Did you have to do like homeschooling or?
I think my mum's like put me on the system as enrolled, but honestly, I went into a really bad like. When I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was just go out with my mates. So I'm in lockdown. I moved back to York, but there weren't enough room for me to live in the house that my brother and my dad lived in. So I had to move in with my grandma. She's actually my great grandma. She's 90 now, so at the time she probably would have been 84, 85, 86 maybe. So quite an older lady, and she was starting off with dementia when I moved in with her. So that was quite hard as well, sort of like living with my grandma, having the same conversations over and over
Yeah.
again.
And it was just you and your great grandma.
Yeah, just me and her in the house.
Okay.
But like where I come from in York, there's like an area called Lehman Road, and like all my family literally live on Lehman Road. Like my dad was only a few doors down, and I could go and see him whenever I wanted. But obviously it was locked down, so you weren't really meant to mingle.
Yeah.
And I know it was actually probably bad because I lived with my grandma, but I still went out all the time.
Mate, listen, I mean, my opinion on that whole time period is, I think it was all a farce. I really do. I did at the time, and like when it comes to the mingling kind of thing,
Yeah.
like I worked all the way through. Like
Yeah.
legally, like we were never told that we couldn't go into people's houses. I think there was that period of time for the first few months where nobody really knew how bad it was, what it was, and I had a few empty houses to do, which was great. But within about 6 months, and everything had kind of calmed down, and we realised that, do you know what, actually, you're not going to die if you catch it.
Bit of a brainwash, really, isn't it?
100%. We could have a whole conversation on that, Lily, to be fair. But I didn't exactly toe the line, so don't worry, you're in safe company on that one.
Yeah, so like I was going out and stuff, and obviously looking back on it now, I'm like, maybe it wasn't the right thing to do, but at the end of the day, I was just a stupid 14-year-old.
You're a kid, yeah.
So then, like, when I turned 15, this is when I was, like, sort of in a circle of people that I shouldn't have really been in, and, like, we were all just literally, like, we'd get a big bottle of vodka and just, like, go to a field and just get pissed off, and like that's sort of when like we started smoking a bit of the green, and like them days, like when I think about them, it was good at the time, but like if you ask me now, do you want to go to the field with a bottle of vodka, I'd be like, no, I'd rather poo in my hands and clap. Do you know what I mean? Like honestly, I would. But that was a spiral. Like every weekend, didn't even have to be a weekend. It could be a Tuesday night, and we'd all just go and like it were mad. Like when it were really hot. Do you remember in lockdown when it was boiling?
I think that lockdown summer was probably the best summer on record.
It was.
If your cushion's slipping, by the way, Lily, what I do is pull it. If you put it up behind your back. Yeah, I've got to work out a system where this don't happen because everyone struggles with it. I've either got to get some massive cushions or like Velcro them to the back or something.
Get some Velcro, that'd be good actually.
There we go. But yeah, if you hold it up there, it stays.
Yeah, that's fine. Just keep
you comfortable. Yeah. But sorry, so vodka in fields.
I know. Honestly, I feel quite embarrassed to admit it, but everyone's got their dirty laundry, haven't they?
Do you know what? I think like your generation, it's moving forward a lot. Like, because obviously you know Alfie, my son, he's 17, he turns 18 in 3 months. But their generation, like, they're different. Like, they don't seem to do that as much.
Honestly,
like him and his mates, they go to the gym rather than go to a field to drink.
I feel like I used to go out more before I turned 18. I actually did, and then all I wanted from being like 15 to 16, 17 was an ID so I could go out. Like I used to borrow like my older cousin's ID or a mate or whatever to go to the clubs and stuff. But like when I turned 18, I just didn't have an interest in it. I'd made myself bored of it already.
It's that taboo as well though, isn't it? You want to do it when you can't do it, but once you can do it, it's like, it's boring there.
I think as well, like I'd seen things that had made me think like, well, like you want to be straight-headed, Lil, that's not the life you want to live. Like I mentioned to you before, like I've always been told if you surround yourself with 5 millionaires, you're more likely to become a millionaire. If you put yourself around crackheads, you're going to be a crackhead. Like you've got to put yourself around the right people. And like when I was going out all the time and that, like people were just like fighting. Like I seen a guy's jaw get like fully took off once. I had to ring an ambulance because I thought he was going to die. Like that's not normal, that. And like to the point where like I actually lost like one of my closest mates who I actually worked with at the time, and that's when I realised like, Lil, like you need to sort yourself out.
Are you alright explaining what happened there, like when you lost your friend?
Yeah, so at the time, so I'll sort of tell it like how we actually became friends and stuff. So I was in like a friendship circle, And, like, we'd all go out all the time. And, like, where I came from in York, it was quite a small town. Like, everyone knew each other, like if you were a similar age. And I remember, like, one of my friends of friends, so, like, what's it called? A mutual friend.
Acquaintance.
Yeah, mutual acquaintance. Told me about a job going at this bar called Lucia's, like a restaurant bar, and I needed a job at the time. Like, I'd just been sacked from McDonald's. So I worked at Mackey's underage, and I lost my job there.
How'd you manage that? How'd you manage to get in underage?
I know. Well, I don't even know. I just
Didn't check your
blagged it.
ID?
I just blag everything in life, mate. I'm a blagger. I blagged my way here.
I think everyone's blagged. You've blagged your way there. I've blagged my way to being sassier somehow.
McDonald's managers need to up the game. They scanned my passport and everything, mate. They didn't ask me nothing. They just let me work.
They scanned
there.
your actual passport?
They scanned my actual passport and they didn't realise that it was the wrong date or nothing.
How old were you?
I was 15 and you're meant to be 16, but I only lasted...
Mackey's.
I know, McDonald's. And I could tell you some dirty secrets about Mackey's as
Let's
well.
go there, Lil. Let's go there, mate. You can't say that and then not. That's
so,
like...
No, I'll tell you one of the worst things, right? So, never get ice in your drink from McDonald's because they don't clean the ice dispenser ever. Never.
Right.
It doesn't get cleaned.
So
I worked there for probably 5 to 6 months before I got the boot. And yeah, it didn't get cleaned full time I worked there. It's on the rotor. People just tick it like it's been done because it's so much effort. And I seen a rat once as well.
A rat?
A rat, yeah.
In the kitchen?
Like run across the floor, yeah. But I'll tell you the reason why I got sacked. So you get 3 warnings, yeah. You get 3 warnings.
So you didn't get sacked for being underage?
No, I didn't get sacked for being underage. They never even found that out. They never knew. And unless anyone from that McDonald's, yeah, Poppleton McDonald's in York, if you listen now, just know that you got me for the wrong reasons. Like, you actually did. So I got 2 warnings, yeah, for eating chicken nuggets, like, and not on my dinner, like, just having them. Like, just going in the kitchen.
Just having a slice chicken nugget?
Yeah. And I remember the manager took me into the office and actually played like a recording of me walking.
Having a sly chicken nugget? No way, man.
So I got 2 warnings for that. And then when I said to you about going out and that, yeah, I'd been out one night. And I think I got back at like 5 in the morning and I had a shift at 6:30. And I went in and I was like, oh, I think I was still off my rocker, not going to lie. But, like, it worked that. They probably could tell that I was still a bit, but, like, I must have just said the wrong thing to some woman anyway. She started shouting at me through the window. I was on the window and, like, I started shouting back at her. I had an argument with a customer, basically, because I just weren't in the headspace. And then the manager, like, I turned around and she was stood behind me and I was like, hi. She was like, Lily, can you follow me to the office? And then, yeah, I got walked off the premises and everything. And I had to get on my pedal bike and bike home.
What was the final? Was that the final one?
That was the final one, yes. Yeah, so it was 2 warnings for eating the chicken nuggets. And then
2 separate chicken nugget occasions.
Yeah.
Chicken nugget fiend over here.
I know.
Watch nuggets whenever Lily's is around.
I know, honestly. I don't even really like them that much, to be fair. I'll probably just have munchies.
I'm going to have to put them out for, like, picking food, aren't I, for the depending on when you're listening to this, we've got like an opening event / 1 year anniversary of the podcast thing happening in a couple of weeks, which Lily will be coming to, and I now know that I've got to get some chicken nuggets in. So when they all go, I know exactly where they've gone.
Yeah. In my tum-tum.
So you got booted out of Mackey's.
Yeah. And then I needed a new job. And then I heard off one of my mates who had just left a job. She was like, because she went to go work somewhere else, don't really know the story behind that. Anyway, she was like, oh, Lil, I know you're looking for a job, like, try and take mine. So that's what I did. I rang them up and then I went in for an interview and I got the job. And she was called Liv. I met her working at this restaurant, but I sort of already knew her. Like, she was my brother's age, so, like, I knew her from, like, being in my brother's year and just, like I said before, York's a small place, word of mouth, whatever. And we came quite close, and, like, we used to go for sunbeds together. Like, she could drive, I couldn't drive yet. Obviously, I was still younger, and she was a couple of years older than me. And she'd take me for a sunbed, we'd go for a Mackey's together, whatever. And then, yeah, I remember everyone went to a festival and then Liv got the train back with a boyfriend, and I remember the day after I'd gone over to Bolton. Actually, I'd got the train to go and see my mum and the kids, my little brother and sister, Winston and Margot. I love them; they're my best friends. But yeah, I came over here, so I was in Greater Manchester at the time, and it was actually my brother who rang me. And I thought, why is he ringing me? He never wants to talk to me. Do you know what I mean? And I answered, and I was like, and he sounded morbid, but like my brother, like he was quite close to her as well, whatever. Yeah, and then my brother was just like, do you know what's happened? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean what's happened? And then he was like, well, after that festival, obviously Liv's gone home, and like her grandma's gone in, because she lived with her grandma as well, and couldn't wake her up. Like, he went, I went, what do you mean? He went, she's dead, Lil, like, Liv's died. And I just, like, obviously I just burst out into tears. Luckily I was with my mum. Like, I don't know what I would have done if I were, like, I probably would have, like, I don't even know. But when I told my mum, yeah, one of the first things she said to me was like, I'm just glad it's not you, because it could have been the way I was going at that point of time. Like, I was in a low spot then, like going out and stuff and doing things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. But yeah, I know it sounds really like probably crap to say, but everything happens for a reason. And like, I genuinely think, yeah, that phone call changed my whole mentality, my whole outlook on life.
Yeah.
Like, I obviously I love Liv and I think about her all the time. And like, I turned 19 a few weeks ago, and Liv was 19 when she unfortunately passed. And I think it's weird that like you can catch up with someone's age, and the fact that like obviously she was 19 and then but I was 17 and now I am 19. Why, like, she would have been 21. That's a special birthday. Do you know what I mean? So when everyone was messaging me on my birthday, like, happy birthday, Lily, I was trying to, like, be positive. But luckily, I had Andy there. Like, I was at work, and Andy is so supportive, and I spoke to him about it, and he made me feel a lot better. But, yeah, God, I'm going to get upset talking about it, you
It's
know?
all right, mate. You can take a moment. It's not surprising that you would do.
I know.
I know exactly what you mean in terms of it being a sort of like a life-changing moment for you,
Yeah.
because it does. Unfortunately, when you have these, when you're around or you experience like tragedy or loss, it just does make you reevaluate everything and
Yeah.
think, what's important, which way am I going? And like you said, if you were going down and living the same lifestyle, it very well could have been you. And then it's that, unfortunately, it's a tragic
Yeah.
circumstance, but it was probably a light bulb moment for a lot of people that were around that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah. I definitely think that I was really lucky, and I do thank the people that were there for me. But like, not gonna lie, like after that all happened, I went in at first. I went into a bit of like a resent mode, like where I didn't really want to talk to anyone, and I was quite angry at the world, and like, it's actually embarrassing to admit, but I'd spend like 3 weeks in bed and just not wash and just not even brush my teeth or brush my hair, look in the mirror. I was just in a hole. I wouldn't even open my curtains.
That's depression, really.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
I
Yeah.
went through a depressive stage, and there are days now where I'm like, am I gonna go to work today? Like, ugh. And like, I feel lucky that obviously I've gained some support on Instagram and stuff, and they help me want to go to work so I can give them fun stories and put out a reel that they might like and might brighten up the day or whatever. So that gives me motivation. But yeah, that was awful. Like when I was like in that stage of like not wanting to get up, not knowing what I wanted to do. Like, I lost any job that I even had. Like, I lost that restaurant job. I went to go and work in a clothes shop. I lost that. Every job, yeah, that I've ever had before I started decorating, I've been sacked from. I've never kept a job ever. But it's because of the mindset that I was in. Like, I just resented everything, and I didn't like being told what to do. And it's took a lot for me to like understand that you actually have to be told what to do when you're a young person and you don't know right from wrong, you don't know your next steps in life. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that like I found decorating. Decorating sort of saved my life, you know.
It's a big statement, isn't it?
It actually like
What was
probably
like,
did.
because if you hit that moment, obviously you lost your friend, and you hit those lows and those days where you couldn't get out of bed and
Mm.
all the rest of it. Like, what was the turning point? Where did things start to change? Was there like a significant moment or a day where you just went, right, enough? Like, what happened?
So obviously I met my partner, and like he actually had a trade, and I could see that like getting up every day
Mm,
and like having a good like obviously sleeping routine, like getting up in the morning and like going to jobs, like but not just going to jobs, going to different jobs. And like I sort of thought like, oh, I'd actually quite like that, like because I don't like repetitiveness.
yeah.
I like having a mix up of things and changing. And I will say that I've always been interested in interior design. And in one of my depressive stages, I was in bed and I found a program called Studio McGee, I think it's called, like where they do up houses, like
Mm,
property development. And I remember just sitting in bed one day thinking, like, I want to do something with my life. Like, I know that God put me on this earth for a reason. Like, I know that I've got potential to be known, and whatever I want to do, like, I want to be good at. And I've always thought, yeah, like, that I was going to be my own boss, but I just didn't know what in. Like,
mm,
and I used to actually want to be a paramedic, yeah, but like in my little brain somewhere, I've always thought like I don't want someone to tell me what I'm going to earn.
mm,
Like I want to try and make my own goals of my own salary. Anyway, I literally still did not know what to do. And I remember one day my mum came in my room when I was unemployed, and I'd just gone through something quite hefty as well, meeting my boyfriend. I actually like was quite stupid and didn't go on any contraception, and I missed a few periods. Whatever. We actually went to Lanzarote together on like a bit of a couple holiday, and like while we were over there, he was like noticing that I was a bit like. Because I do like, I'm not fat, yeah, but I don't know. Like, I'd like to say that like I've got quite a flat stomach, and you could tell if there was something there. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And Jake was like, Lily, have you put a bit of weight on? I was like, oh no, it's just from like flying and the sun or whatever. And then towards the end of the holiday, I was waking up and just like being sick, and I was like, why am I being sick? Like, what's going on? But I was in denial that I'd not missed these
Yeah.
periods. I was like, no, it'll come, it'll come. And then on the plane on the way home, I literally threw up the full way home, and like, and shout out to Jake as well, because while we were on holiday, I was unemployed and I literally didn't pay for anything while we were there. And love you,
Mm,
but on the way home, he went and bought a pregnancy test from Boots in the airport, and I went and took it in the toilet, and then it turned out that I was pregnant, and obviously my head was like falling off, and he was a bit older than me, and he was like, oh, it's fine, though, like we can make it work. But he was also like, whatever you want to do, it's fine. He was
yeah.
really
Yeah.
supportive. But for me at that moment, I didn't know what the hell. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously I
Yeah.
loved this boy, and I was like, I do want you to be the dad to my kids, but also I don't have a job, I don't have a house, I
Mm,
don't have a car, I don't even have a driving license at this point. Like, what am I gonna do? So then I like built myself up to tell my mum, and then I didn't even have to tell her. I went round to hers and I was like, I need to talk to you. She went, you're pregnant. I was like, how do you know? And she was like, I can just tell Lil. She's like, what are you
mm,
gonna do? Obviously, I had a very serious chat with her, and like, I'm really lucky that my mum like guided me the right way.
yeah.
And like, I'm sorry if anyone is against it, but I made the decision to obviously abort.
Mate,
Unfortunately,
don't apologise for that. Like, it's
unfortunately,
your decision. It's your body. It's your life.
yeah.
It's yeah. There's nobody that can make that decision but you.
Mm.
And nobody should judge you for whatever you did.
Yeah, I know. And like, not gonna lie, it's quite hard to talk about, but I just want to be open so that people understand like that sometimes you have got to make hard decisions in life and
Yeah.
it's not
Oh,
easy.
Lily, massive respect to you for putting it out there, because it's one of the reasons that I started this whole podcast is to help people. And there will definitely be people that have either been through or will go through what you went
Yeah.
through, and in that similar
Yeah.
situation, like young mothers. And like I say, if people decide that that's what they're going to do, all credit to them. If people decide that that's not what they're going to do, there's nobody that can make a judgment on that
Yeah.
in my head.
I think it's one of the weirdest things ever, because it's like one half of your brain is saying one thing and the other saying another, and then your heart's saying something as well, and it's like, whoa. But yeah, I think that was a thing that made me realise that I needed to sort myself out. Because if I do want to be a mother, I need to have a driving licence, I need to have a deposit or a what do you call it, a loan to put on a house or
Mortgage.
whatever, a mortgage,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I need to have those things. I need to be financially stable if I'm going to bring a kid into this world.
That's a very mature view,
I
isn't
think
it?
that's what
Yeah.
made me click, and I think that's when I said, like, right, I'm going to get an apprenticeship so I can
Wow.
become that person who can bring a kid into the world.
Again, mate, fair play to you for learning from that. Like, it's one of the things, it's a key thing that I think it's like a mindset shift when you can see the value in trauma. And you've already mentioned like a couple of things that have been very traumatic, but you've taken the value from it.
Yeah.
You've taken the life lesson. It just reframes everything. And like you touched on earlier, it's like everything becomes a lesson then.
Yeah.
And that, to me, like if you can take that lesson as a value, it kind of lifts a little bit on the trauma, because it's like, well, the trauma was shit. It's horrible. Wasn't nice to go through. But if you've taken something positive out of it, kind of reframes it a bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it takes like quite a big person to actually do that. Like, because if you're going to be a negative Nancy, yeah, and everything that happens, you're just going to take the negatives out from it. You're just going to be in a rut. You actually will be. There's always got to be a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. If you focus on the trauma and become victim to it, then yeah, it is hard to shift and move on.
Because I have had like some bad times, but I've also had some really good times as well. But I believe that everything that happened in the last, say, 6 years to me and to the people around me, or whatever I've had to go through, has made me who I am today. Like, I feel this year, like, it's definitely got to be my year. I feel the most grounded ever. I feel like my outlook on life is just at the best it's ever been. And, like, these past couple of years as well, I've become very money driven. Like, I just want to make money. Or, like I said, like, I'm only 19, but like thinking about bringing kids into the world and stuff like that, like I had it quite hard. I would say people have had it harder than me, but like I want to give like my possible children that I do bring into the world like a good life. Like, I mean, I grew up in a broken home, and I really don't want to do that. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
know exactly
I
what you
just
mean.
hope
Yeah,
I just hope that I can give my kids what I always wanted.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I wish my mum and dad were still together, but who doesn't? It's more rare now, yeah, to have your parents together than
100%.
separated.
Yeah. Do you know what, Lily? Like, I'm sat here smiling because I did exactly the same thing. Like, obviously, I've got 2 kids with my ex-wife, and I came from a broken home myself. My mum and dad split up, and I always swore exactly what you just said, that if I had kids, it would always, I wouldn't do that to them. Then, ironically, ended up going through the same thing. So it's great to be able to like project that, but whatever happens in your life, all you can do is do your best. Like there's a lot of things, a lot of circumstances you're out of control with, so what will be will be. If you can do that and have a family and stay together, then amazing. But it is so rare these days.
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of it has got to do with like media and like
Oh god,
everything that goes on
yeah.
now. Like,
It's so easy to change now, mate, isn't it? Like, and your connectivity is so far advanced. Like, whereas it used to be you'd go out and meet people in your area.
yeah,
Now you can connect with people all across,
yeah,
not only the UK but across the world. And that's one of the problems is now. But I think people are less inclined to work on relationships because there's so many options out there.
yeah.
Do you know what I
Like,
mean?
it's all right. She didn't work out. I'll just go on Tinder and just go on
Exactly.
another date tomorrow. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But then most people I hate to say it, but just after one thing, really.
Mm,
That on dating apps anyway. Like I've been on them, and I just think like some guy messaged me once. Oh, he was a joiner, yeah. And obviously, like I love my job. I will scream it from the rooftops that I'm a decorator. So
yeah.
of course, like he knew I was a decorator. And one of my first pictures will have been me with Merker or something. You know what I mean?
Is that what
Anyway,
you put in your dating profile?
he messaged me saying like, "I'll fit the skirts and you can satin them out, baby." Like, oh yeah.
Did that not? That didn't work for you?
No, did it? I think I deleted the app after that. I was like, these are all weird.
That's enough.
No, either
Bless
or
you.
they're just gamers as well. Like they all just like sit on the games and that. And I think that's weird. Me,
Yeah.
I'm not into a gamer.
I must admit, I mean, in fairness, like for clarity, I met Ange on Tinder, but this was like close to 10 years ago, 8 years ago. This was, and I think it was a bit different then.
When it was used properly.
Yeah, I think the whole game's changed. I mean, when we met, and yeah, we met on a dating app, but Tinder was kind of like the only one out there. Now there's like millions of them.
There's lots. There's like
Yeah.
ones for celebrities, like so only celebrities can go on it and like meet other celebrities and that. It's like, who do you think you are?
So I can't run dating apps too far into the ground because I met my wife on one.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard from friends and family that have like processed, experienced it more recently, I think
Yeah.
it's changed a bit.
I think definitely, yeah, because one of my mum's best friends actually, she got married in the summer just gone. And I went to the wedding, my mum was a bridesmaid. And they've been together for 10 years, actually, like you and Ange, they met on Tinder. And they've got 2 kids, and yeah, married. And they met on Tinder, but I
It
just
can
don't see it as
work,
much these
yeah, but I
days.
don't know. I think everything's changing though, and this is one of the reasons. Like, we'll get on to talking about your like how you got started in the trade because you're quite an anomaly in the trade. Like, just speaking openly, because one, because of your age,
What's a
and
nominally?
not a non and fucking hell, I can't say it myself now. An anomaly means like something rare, different, like
Yeah.
not abnormal. I don't want to use that word, but
Unique.
yeah, we'll go with
Yeah.
unique. You're unique
Oh,
in the
I love that.
trade.
I absolutely love that,
It's a suitable word. But there's
Oh.
not many young girls coming into. There's not many young lads coming into the trade.
No.
There's even less young girls coming into the trade. I mean, if I'm honest, I am seeing like the decorating industry. I think there's more and more like
Women.
female tradespeople
Yeah,
coming in,
there is.
which is fucking brilliant. And decorating seems to have a higher proportion, I think, probably because of what it is, like with the decorative side of things. But yeah, to have you coming and doing an apprenticeship, like, it's really good to see. It's really good to see.
Yeah.
But
I just didn't want to die without a qualification, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, I just wanted to, like, be able to say, like, yeah, I went to college, I studied, and I come out with a qualification.
so how did you get involved with obviously Andy's company? Then was he looking for somebody, or
Honestly,
did you know him?
it was just like a pick of the bunch. Like, well, I'll tell you. So I was like to my mum one day, like really, I'm interested in interior design, and like my mum's got a mate who's an interior designer, and so I spoke to her on the phone, and she was like, "Lil, I think you should get a trade." Like, she was like, "You are quite active anyway. Like, I'm quite a bouncy person. Like, I never stand in one
You're quite
spot."
high energy, yeah.
Yeah, I never stand in one spot for longer than a minute. Like, if you ask Andy, he'll tell you, yeah. If you ask me to cut in a full room, I'd probably start around the door halfway, go and do that bit over there, come back, finish the door, and then cut in one skirt, cut in another skirt, do a bit of the tops, and then do a bit of the
Oh,
bottoms.
that'd
Like,
drive me mad,
that's...
that would, I'm always on about Alfie, about being methodical. I'm like, you start there, you go that way, it'll drive me crazy.
I know. I don't do it all the time. It just depends what day it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was speaking to that woman, and she said to me, get a trade. And at first I was like looking at people on TikTok and stuff, and I actually found Paint Warrior, and I was like, oh
Big
my
shout
god,
out,
like,
Kev.
I know, shout out to Kev. But yeah, so I found him on TikTok, and I started following him, and I was watching some of his videos, and I was like, wow, this is so satisfying. Like, imagine if I could do that.
So hold on. So what you're saying is Paint Warrior was like essentially the reason you decided to get into decorating?
I wouldn't say he's the reason, like not the full on reason, because I really wanted to do something like that anyway.
Yeah.
But like when I found him on TikTok, and I found someone else as well. I think she's from America. She's called Cara Joy. I think Karen maybe. I don't actually know because her name's not her Instagram.
Okay.
But she posts like really cool stuff. Like she's got like a really nice house, but like every room's like a different theme. Like she like every door in the house is a different colour as well. And she posts videos of her like painting a kitchen or whatever. So I seen like all these cool people on Instagram, and I was like, wow, I really want to get into that. And I was really interested in like furniture restoration as well. Like, cause I followed this other guy. I couldn't tell you what he's called, but he was like buying drawers off Marketplace, doing them up and selling them for like $1,000. And I was like, whoa, like I'd love to do that. So I started ringing up loads of businesses. Like some of them were like, yeah, we'll give you a call back. And then they just never did. Applied for a couple on Indeed, never heard back from them. Most of these were like big firms as well that I probably would have just ended up sweeping up. And then I rang. At the time, it was actually called Guesty Decorators on Google. It's a bit of a long story, but basically Andy and Rick had not long been partnered up, and Rick had got the Google account off one of his mates who just retired from decorating and bought a pub in the Lake District. So they started on the Google account from their mate who called it Guesty Decorators, and then when I started with them, they changed to AR Decor. But I rang them. They were the only ones who like. Oh no, actually. Scrap that. They didn't answer. I left a voicemail, and then they were the only people who actually got back in touch with me. So I had a call from Rick. It was Rick who rang me, and he was like, we love the fact that you've left a voicemail. Like most people who have tried getting a job with them have just like messaged them on Facebook like, yo, you got any work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've been there, yeah.
So they liked the fact that I was proactive with it. I rang them up, I left them a voicemail. I said, my name's Lily, and I left him my number to call me back on. So Rick rang me, and then he asked me like obviously if I had any experience or whatever, and I was like, I've done a bit of painting like in my own house, but I was like, other than that, no. He was like asking me like where I've worked and stuff. I was like, I've worked at Mackey's, I worked in a clothes shop. Obviously at this point I didn't tell him that I got sacked from them all, but he knows now.
Nobody
he knows
does, Lily,
now.
don't worry. Nobody ever does that.
I know. So anyway, they organised that I could do a 2-week trial with them. And then Andy picked me up from Tesco car park. Like my mum took me to meet him. Obviously at first we didn't have a clue who this was. Like it could have been some guy who wanted to kidnap me or something. But no, me and my mum went and met him. My mum obviously said hire in that, and then I just went on my way. And that was it. Like after the 2-week trial, they were like, are you sure it's what you want to do? Because obviously we'll have to enroll you at college and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do it. Like I just fell in love with it straight away. Like even just the little things, like just being able to put your earphones in if you want and just listening to your own music. Or if you want to have a chat, you can have a chat. But then I also love being hands-on and like seeing progress in what I do. Like we turn up to jobs sometimes and it's like, God, when did this last get done? Like look at the runs on that skirting board, like it's yellow, and then we leave and it's like a brand new house. And I just love the customer satisfaction. It's unreal.
How do you find, like, how do the customers react to you?
Oh my God, every customer loves me.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I just win them over. Like, I think most of them want to keep me there. Like, they're always like, oh, I'm going to miss you, Lily.
Yeah.
Like, when we're leaving, like, if we've been on for a while. And I remember it was like one of our third jobs that I'd been on, and the woman was like, oh, like, you're so good. And it was my first ever, like, tip that she'd got, so she gave me 20 quid when we were leaving. And I remember saying to Andy, like, oh my God, I can't believe she's giving me £20. Like, this is so good. But yeah, there's also been, like, other times where it's actually really sad. So we worked on a house once, not too far from where Andy lives. And it was an old couple, OAPs. They're mostly who we work for, really, to be honest. And we were there for about 2 weeks. We were doing the whole stairs and landing, living room and dining room. Bear in mind there was 3 of us, so that's why we got it done in that time.
Yeah.
But when we left, like, so the woman, she loved me. She added me on Facebook and everything. And when we left, her husband hugged me really tight and was like, "Thank you so much. Like, my wife's so happy with everything you've done. Like, she's wanted it doing for ages, and like, she's over the moon." So she added me on Facebook, whatever. Like, we were best mates. Yeah. A week later, he died. He passed away after we'd just done all the decorating and everything for him. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it was so sad. And I remember on one of my TikToks, like, me and Andy were watching it back, and you could hear him talking in the background, like, and I was just like, oh my god, it's so sad that, like, as if, but like, she still like messages and stuff. Like on my birthday, she messaged me like, "Happy birthday, Lily," and like, she's still all right. But yeah, that was mad. That we were like, whoa, as if like we've just been in their house for that long.
It's a
And
nice
like,
side of the trade, though, isn't it? That customer
yeah,
satisfaction
it
side of
was.
it.
It was sort of like, though, yeah, he was waiting until the house was perfect for his wife
Putting
before,
everything in order.
yeah, making sure everything was
Yeah.
all right for her before, obviously. And it felt like we were part of it, and I was just like, oh my god, it's a lot to take in that.
Yeah. Bless
But
you.
yeah,
How's the apprenticeship been? So you're 18, you're coming towards the end of it now then?
yeah,
Yeah. So do you do like a final exam at the end kind of
yeah,
thing?
you do. So hopefully I'll be doing mine in summer, and what you've got to do, it actually sounds like quite easy, yeah, but I don't want to go in like it's easy because you never know, I might get caught out. But obviously, decorating, it's what I do. It's what I live and breathe now. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everywhere I go, like I am inspecting. Like I'll tell you all the lines in here are
Don't
sharp.
look
Do you
too
know what I
tight,
mean?
Lily, honestly. This was done on a speed thing, so don't look too close.
But no, honestly though, wherever I go, it's like I inspect it from top to bottom. So it's just what I do. So, it's called an EPA. That's what they call it. So an end point assessment
Right.
when you come into the end of your apprenticeship. Not gonna lie, I'm quite nervous, but like I said, it's what I do. But there's 3 parts to it. So obviously there's the practical part. So how it works, like in college, we've all got like our own little rooms, like this really, maybe a bit smaller, and there's a pretend chimney breast in there, pretend window, whatever.
Yeah.
So for your EPA, you have to do like the full room to the best of your ability. I think we have to blown vinyl the ceiling. Don't ask me why, 'cause who even gets that
Oh, really?
anymore? Yeah, and then paint it, and then we've got a drop match on the chimney breast. Paint a feature wall colour, and then sorry, I just touched that.
Don't matter at all.
Paint a feature wall colour, and then the rest all one colour, and then obviously do the woodwork, and then we've also got to paint our floor as well.
Okay.
So that's the practical side of it, and then that gets inspected by 2 professionals from City and Guilds, and then they'll come in and like ask me about my process, why I did a certain thing, and like what were the logistics of that or whatever, and just basically ask me about like why I've gone about the way of decorating that room,
The way you did.
basically,
Yeah.
and like what order I'd do things in and what products I'd use for what, and like, and they might say, if there was a stain there, like what would you do? Basically just put me on the spot with it. So that's the first part, and then the second part of the endpoint assessment is a multiple choice like quiz thing on a computer. It's like the theory test really for
Okay.
driving,
Yeah.
but decorating. I don't actually have a clue what any of the questions are going to be on either, so it's not like I can revise. But yeah, I'll get Andy to like just keep firing questions at me in the upcoming weeks to my endpoint assessment. Hopefully I pass. The third bit is like basically like what they're going to ask me in my room. So it's a professional discussion. So I don't really know what the professional discussion is going to entail. I think it sort of goes more on like pricing maybe, and like measurements of wallpaper.
Do they teach you that? Do they
And
teach you
like,
like pricing and things?
no, this is what I mean. So we all had to fill out. I keep doing that.
Don't matter, Lily,
I
honestly.
do talk with my hands.
You can move it around as much as you want. It doesn't matter.
I talk with my hands a lot. What?
I said, do they do any like conversation about like quoting and
Oh
pricing
yeah,
and that?
so a few weeks ago we did like a review and we had to fill out this bit on so it's called Smart Assessor, like our portal of like where we upload all our pictures and write-ups and stuff, like all the coursework. And there was a bit on Smart Assessor where we had to say like, is there anything that you think's missing from the course? And I said, yeah, there is, because you don't teach us about like if we are going to go self-employed, like you don't really tell us about like what we should be charging for our day rate or what we might be worth. Don't really teach us about taxes or like insurances that you need for a business, like liability cover and all that. And like I am going to go self-employed this year, so like I have got a lot to think about, like even just like all the accounts and stuff like that, which I am quite nervous for.
It's a job in itself.
Yeah.
It's a conversation I've had many times where I know some people who are really, really good tradespeople,
Yeah.
but they're terrible business people. But there's a lot involved in running your own business. You'll find this out because you're going to end up going that way. But you have to not only be a good tradesperson, so you have to be a great decorator, but then you've got to be a good salesperson, a good accountant, a good marketer. There's all this stuff. I mean, I think, like looking from the outside in, you've got a great head start because your social media is already flying, so you're already building up.
But most people who follow me though, are decorators or other tradespeople or DIYers that are looking for tips. Not really like that much work.
Customer base, yeah.
No.
It's just a case, you'll get there anyway, but it's knowing what you're using your social media for.
Yeah.
So if you're building up your social media for the likes of, like brand deals and sponsorships and things like that, all credit. But if you are looking for, it's just a little tip incoming, but if you are looking to use the social media to get clients, what you need to do is target, like say, what I did, right? So when I started up my initial like decorators Instagram page, I went and followed and started interacting with a lot of local interior designers.
Yeah.
And I researched, interior designers in my area, then found their Instagrams and picked up work.
Yeah.
It wasn't long before you'd just leave the odd comment, oh, that's nice. And then it'd be like, oh, you're a decorator? Oh, I didn't realise you were in my area. So interacting with local businesses and other accounts that might connect you with work.
Yeah.
So from a decorator's point of view, like I say, interior designers are good to target. Commercial businesses, if you want to go that way. And, it's things like, I don't know, if you find, I guess if I'm honest, so painting and decorating is kind of a luxury item, really.
It is. It's not like a necessity, is it really?
Not really. So if you've got in your area, say a nice cafe or a nice restaurant,
not where I live.
But anything
you have to
like
go
that,
to the actual centre to find that, maybe.
But do that. Check out their followers, and then you'll see people that might follow them because they use that cafe or whatever it might be, and follow them because they're going to be local people.
Yeah.
And then once they start to twig, and they're also more likely to be the kind of people that are going to have the budget to employ people in that area.
Yeah.
So it's just adapting your social media to
the right sort
what you want.
People.
Just know the purpose of it.
Yeah.
Are you trying to get brand deals or are you trying to get customers?
Both.
And if you're doing both, you just have to make sure that you're catering to both.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I mean, I am quite lucky because, like, obviously, I said my mum's got a couple of mates who are interior designers and stuff.
Brilliant, yeah.
And I have done a bit of work for her, like, over the Christmas period. I was literally just at our house the full time painting. She's like, can you do a bit there? Can you do a bit there? But she's definitely got a lot of work for me. She could probably take me to the end of the year when I come out my time. She's got such a nice house as well. She lives in the old vicarage, so, like, where the vicar lived. So I don't know if you saw it on Instagram, but like all the doors in a house are like, you can tell they're a bit old, and she loves my attention to detail. So I've only done one door so far in the kitchen, and she was like, oh my God, Lily, that's like a new door. So she wants me to go back and do all the doors throughout a house. So I think I am lucky, but then I also don't want to just work for like people that I know.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
definitely take on board what you've said there. That is
Yeah.
a really good bit of advice, and I'm gonna go on all the restaurants and follow all the people.
Yeah, it's just little tips like that to know what you're doing it for. Unfortunately, and time served people fall down because
Yeah,
social media is a new thing and it's ever evolving.
yeah,
And within decorating, and there's nothing wrong with this, but you tend to find a lot of decorators will just start an account and then go follow a load of other decorators.
yeah. That I
So
think that's what I did.
it's good for picking up tips and building the community, which is brilliant. So it's not pointless. But if you're doing it for the purpose of hunting work, you're not going to
Yeah,
find work from other decorators.
yeah,
I mean, I guess there's the odd chance that somebody local might go, oh, have you got a few days here to help me out? But primarily, you're going to be following decorators from all across the country,
yeah.
which, like I say, I'm not getting at you. There's
No,
nothing wrong with it. But if you're hunting work, you've
yeah,
also got to put the legwork in to establish that as well.
yeah, definitely.
So, but like I said, you've got a massive head start already because you're already very active on social media.
I think when I won the Apprentice of the Year award last year as well, like obviously it's like you don't know many apprentices that have got their own festival sander. Do you know what I mean? Like when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
won that was like,
Where was that? Where did you win that?
so it was through Markel Insurance. They put
Mm.
like a competition. It was purely online. And then like Andy got an email saying that I've been picked as the winner and that. And then they
Oh
came to
wow.
a job and filmed like the little winning film thing
Yeah.
there. But yeah, I won the sander, and like that in itself is a head start that I don't have to save up all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
money just to get like an
Definitely.
extractor and stuff. Um, I think once I get a van as well, I'll feel a lot more confident in taking on jobs because like
Mm.
I have been offered jobs like that I just can't do because I don't even have a van. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I struggle getting everything in my car. Um, so yeah, I definitely need to save up for a van.
How's it going to work out like with you and Andy at the end of your apprenticeship? Are you going to stay on doing bits with him? Are you going to work in like collaboration with him or completely go off in your own
I
separate?
mean, we've touched on it, but we haven't got like a full on plan.
Mm.
Like, I mean, as well, like Rick's a bit older as well, so he's probably looking to come off the tools in the next few years. I don't want to put a number on it because I don't exactly know.
Yeah.
And he has mentioned about maybe tutoring, because he does like teaching people stuff and that, and he don't want to come out of decorating, but like
Mm.
he just wants to slow down a bit,
It's
like
tough.
he's
Yeah, it's
getting
tough on the
on.
body. Yeah.
And he's just had a really bad car accident as well, to be honest. So his back's a bit like
Mm.
he's recovering from that. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know if like I don't know.
There's
Like
nothing wrong with that though.
I'm
You
not
take it
gonna.
as it comes, don't you?
Yeah, like I'll just go with the flow, and I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that I'll be all right, and I know that Andy won't just like never talk to me again. Like he bloody
Mm.
loves me. Do you know what I mean? He's not gonna see me struggle. He really won't.
It's an interesting conversation because not so much in the decorating industry, but take like electrical, for example. It's really hard to get an electrical apprenticeship.
Yeah, it
And one of the
is.
main reasons for that, when you speak to other small business owners about taking on an apprentice, they'll say, a lot of them say the same thing, which is what's the point?
Mm,
The reason being, like, the perspective from the business owner is, well, if I get an apprentice, I'm going to spend a couple of years
mm,
training them. The minute they qualify, because the pay gap is so big, particularly in electrics, they leave. So
mm,
it's like you put 2 years of time and effort into training somebody, and then the minute they qualify, they're gone. You never see them again.
mm-hmm.
And that's what I was wondering whether between you and Andy, whether there's like a period where you're still gonna.
Yeah, there definitely will be. I would never just be gone like that. Like I
Mm,
appreciate Rick as well. Everything that they've done for me and taught me. Like I mentioned before about that job that I did at Christmas. Like when I finished it, I messaged in the chat of us three, the work chat, like, guys, I just want to say thank you. Like
mm,
that job I've just done then on my own, like I would not have been able to do without the skill set that you've given me in the past 2 years. Like, just thank you so much for teaching me
yeah,
everything that I
that's cool.
know. They know like how appreciative I am of the time and effort that they have put into giving me this skill
Mm,
set. Like I'm so lucky as well because like I have come on leaps and bounds. Like I've overtaken people in my class because they work for companies that just can't quite put as much into
mm,
them as what I've got from my bosses.
yeah,
So I count my blessings every day from like getting the perfect apprenticeship really. Like And like, as for coming out my time, I know that Andy's not just going to drop me and I'm not just going to drop him. I'm not 100% how it's going to work, but I don't want to be cards in, because I want to be able to just jet off if I want to, you know what I mean? Like, if I want to go and work in Spain for a month or whatever, like, I don't know. I'm quite a free spirit. I don't want to be tied down. Like, I've been tied down for 2 years. I want to sort of like adventure, maybe to do a couple of jobs in York where I come from, like maybe win some work down there. I don't know. But I know for sure that if Andy had a job and he wanted me on it, he'd ring me and say, Lil, come to this job. And I'd be like, yes, I'm on my way.
That's cool.
Like, we're going to still have that connection,
Yeah.
definitely.
You've got to explore your own thing as well, Lily, to be
Yeah,
fair, because
and
it'll
he
be great for
understands that.
your growth, you
Yeah.
know, to go and the other thing with decorating, I mean, it's like anything. There's so many different demographics within the industry. I mean, in my years in the trade, I've done most of them. I've done commercial work, I've done insurance work, I've done high-end domestic, I've done low-end domestic, I've done, you know, inside, outside, like you name it. There's a lot to try your hand at.
Yeah, there
And you
is.
might try one particular thing and fall in love with it. There might be a particular niche.
I think there already has been. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know how much I can say about this, but I'm just going to, like, touch on it a little bit. But, like, really, really luckily, we actually got approached by one of our close friends in our industry, who works quite closely with the television world sort of thing. And we actually got to go and work for a show. And
That's cool.
it was my favourite job we've done
Really?
ever. And that's what I want to do. Like, maybe not all the time, but I definitely want to get into that more.
Yeah.
Like the TV works. Like, most people would probably shy away from it because of how mad it is. Like, you've got an interior designer like running around like, oh no, that's not supposed to be that. But I buzz off that, like, I buzz off the pressure, like the fact there's a time limit, like the fact that we're doing this for maybe not better off family who couldn't have done it without us. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was so amazing for me. So that was last year, and I don't think the episode's out yet, so I can't say what it is. But yeah,
that's cool.
it's for someone who I look up to as well. The lady whose program it is,
right?
Sort of like, so the woman who it is, she's just brought out like her own like home brand in like Asda and stuff like that, and that's what I sort of want to do as well. Like, so obviously I want to be a decorator, but then on the other side of things, like maybe when I do get a bit older and I can't be on the tools all the time, like I would love to design like my own wallpaper, like, you know, like Laura Ashley, yeah.
You just
Lily
make it
Moore.
better. You'll just make it better quality than that, won't you, Lily?
Better quality wallpaper, but then like also like, you know, when they make like cushions to match and stuff, like I'd love to do that because I love drawing. Like, I've got a sketchbook, I draw all the time. Like, if you ask me what I want for my birthday, I'd probably be like an adult colouring book or a set of knives, because that's what I needed this year, and a frying pan. Because I moved out, actually. I fled the nest. I live on my own.
Oh, bless you.
I've got a flat. Yeah. So, yeah, this year when everyone was asking me what I wanted for Christmas, it was like, yeah.
Do you know what? I mean, it's lovely to hear, to be fair, like, and keep them goals. You know, there's absolutely no reason why you can't do those things. What I want to ask you, because I know, like, you've got you're an ambassador for Kev at Paint Warrior.
Yeah.
How's it been for you? Like, first of all, how did that come about? But it's got to be quite cool to be around people like Kev.
Honestly, do you know what? Yeah, it all happened in such a short space of time as well. Like, my work, like me in this world has just gone. I'm like, whoa! Like, on my 1 year anniversary of being a decorator, when I was typing out the post, just everything that I've done, like the places that I've been and the people that I've seen, is so unreal.
And now you get to add the Talking Tradesman podcast to
your
list for this year, Lily.
Honestly, yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, it's surreal. And to be honest, yeah, I've been an ambassador for a year, and I still cannot believe that Kev, Paint Warrior, wants me as an ambassador. Like, we were all together on a spray course a few weeks ago, and I remember me and his son Lennox, we were sat in the restaurant having some food, and I don't even know how we got onto it, but I said to Lennox, I was like, your dad's so cool. I was like, I just don't understand how I'm even here right now. Like, we were sat on a table with like the Q-Tech guys and like all the ambassadors, and I just felt so important. I was like, and apart from Lennox as well, I was the youngest, and I just feel like everywhere I go, I'm always the youngest one, and I'm like, as if, like, I'm on a couple of decorators panels as well, and like
Yeah.
when I've gone to events and like factories and like see how paint's made, I'm like, what apprentice gets to see how the paint that they use every day is made?
I do understand that, like in terms of you sitting there and thinking, like, how am I here? But
Yeah.
listen, let me tell you something from the other perspective. It's actually mega important for the industry and for people like Kev and me and everything to have you in the industry. Like, you actually provide a massive value that you might not appreciate in terms of the fact that you're happy to be on camera, that you're on social media. It is so important to have people like you talking like you're talking today, because it's people like you that are going to shine that light on the industry to get more people in.
And that's what I
So
want to do as well. I just want to be
yeah,
an advocate for like younger people
but you're
coming
doing that.
through.
You're doing that. So, like, I don't know if anyone's ever said it to you, but thank you for doing that,
Oh,
because it is really important to have people like you doing it, because there are so few. You know, like, you are like, you're unique, as you said, but you're a rarity, and you shouldn't be, in the nicest
yeah,
possible way. It shouldn't be so rare that you're doing this. It
yeah.
should, there should be loads, but there's not, which is why it's so important to have you shining the light like you are.
Oh,
So the reason that you're getting the opportunities that you're getting is because you do hold value. So, don't,
oh,
but don't sort of, how can I put it? I mean, don't use it to get big headed
yeah.
with
My
it.
head's not going to fit out the door.
But what I'm saying is, like, just value yourself, because
Yeah,
you're actually giving a lot back.
I definitely do. Like, it's moments have happened to me where I'm like, as if like, for example, like someone will reply to my story and be like, wow, that story just made my day. Like, you're so
Mm,
funny. And like, a girl actually started at my college in September decorating. And like, I went up to her, I was like, oh, hi, like, are you starting decorating? Like, that's so
mm,
good, because I was the only girl in the class, and like, I was just so buzzing to see someone else who was a
yeah.
girl, you know what I mean? And she was like, oh my God, Lily, I follow you on TikTok. She was like, that's why I've started decorating. And I was like,
How ace is that?
I went to the toilet for a minute, and I was like, oh my God. And I rang my mum. I was
Mm.
like, Mum, guess what? I was like, this Emily girl wants to be a decorator because of me. How crazy is that?
But how cool is that?
I know.
How cool is that?
It is really cool. Um,
But that's what you'll be doing, though, Lily. I mean, hopefully, there'll be people, and there might not be youngsters listening to the podcast. It might be their parents that will sit there and watch this and
yeah.
look at you and think, do you know what? Actually, because one of the big gripes I've got with the education system is the fact that the trades are not pushed, not portrayed, not promoted. It's
Mm,
all, with the education system, it's academia or nothing.
yeah.
So to have people like you that are doing well, it that's what's needed.
Yeah.
There needs to be some focus on that.
Yeah.
So, but people have got to be out there talking about
Yeah,
it.
like when I told Andy as well, like on the Tuesday after being at college on that Monday, I told him, and he was like, "I knew this was going to happen, Lil." Like,
Mm,
and like, sometimes I get messages on TikTok as well saying like,
mm,
"Oh, how did you get your apprenticeship? Like, I really would like to get into this." And like, I reply and I just say like, ring around and just go on
yeah,
Indeed or whatever and just do what you can. But sometimes you have just got to grab bull by the horns. You can't sit
mm,
around and wait for it to come to you. You've got to go out there and find it. Like, I learnt that. I was laid in
definitely.
my bed waiting for a change to
Yeah.
happen, and nothing happened.
And let me tell you, if anyone's listening to this, what Lily did was spot on. Ringing herself and making that phone call, leaving the message. Because as a business owner, let me tell you, there is nothing worse. There is no quicker way to not get a call back than to let your parent message the business owner.
No,
I have, over the years, I have had so many messages of, oh, excuse me, my son's looking for work, or my daughter's looking for
no,
this. I'm like, straight away, it's a no.
no,
Because why can't they message?
no,
Like, the parent is hunting the work for the child. No, don't do that. Don't ever do that.
no.
So you went about it spot on.
My mum wouldn't even do that. She'd be like, "No, Lily, do it yourself." Like, that's how
Mm,
I've been brought up. Like, just like, if you want something, go and get it.
yeah,
Yeah, you
but it's
can't be spoon
important,
fed.
but that's how you got to where you are.
Yeah,
But that's
definitely.
what stood you out. Where Andy's gone, I like that you've done
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
because it's rare. That's the thing. Like, now, it isn't a commonplace thing for the younger generation to have that kind of drive.
Mm,
So it's great seeing it in you. I mean, if anyone is listening parent or younger person, would you recommend doing an apprenticeship?
Definitely would. I mean, I really want to take on my own apprentice. I mean, Andy says all the time, like, that he feels blessed to have given me this trade, and, like, he sort of feels like he's set me up for life, really, because
Well,
he
yes,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
that,
yeah.
he has, and, like, even, like, so back to Paintmore asking me to be an ambassador, um, he actually messaged Andy first and messaged Andy saying, like, I think Lily's great or whatever, like, you've done such a good job with her,
Mm,
blah de blah blah, whatever he said. And then obviously Kev asked me, the first thing I did was ring Andy and be like, guess what? Like, Paintmore has asked me to be an ambassador. Like, he sent me a voice note and everything, and I'm just gonna listen to it again because I can't believe it's real. Like, oh my god! And he was like, yeah, I know. He told me he was gonna ask you, and I was like, screaming down the phone. And then Andy was like, Lily, like, obviously he's noticed that, like, you've got such a good, like, personality and ambition towards, like, what you want to do. And not only that, like, I want to inspire people.
mm.
And, like, I think people can just tell that, like, I'm just a nice person at the end of the day. Like, all I want to do, yeah, is learn my trade, make some money along the way, meet friends. I mean, like, the decorating world on Instagram is actually so good. Like,
Mm.
I feel like I'm part of a little family, me,
Yeah,
especially since I've
definitely.
become an ambassador. Like, that's helped with so much exposure. Obviously,
Yeah.
like, Kev's got millions of followers. Like, why would it not? Um, like, I remember once I tagged Kevin a story and he shared it for me, and I think I got like 50 new followers in a
Mm.
day because it had my face on it though. Like, I've realised, yeah, all my content with my face on does so much better than when I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
film my hands.
yeah.
And I'm like, do people actually like my work, or is it just me?
Do you know what, Lily? I'll pass this advice on actually because it was. So I sat down with Mark Marshall. Do you know Mark?
No, I
Lawn
don't.
Stripes and Hedges
Oh
was
yeah,
his account. So he's got a huge social media following. He's got something like 2.8 million followers across his channels. And I was talking to him about how he built his social media
yeah,
thing. And he made the point of like just being conscious to build value around yourself
yeah,
rather than like ASMR videos, like where
yeah,
you see
yeah,
hands, like say, I don't know, like cutting in videos, right?
yeah.
Rife and decorating, everyone cutting in straight lines, but you don't get to see the person behind the camera. And
Mm-hmm.
Mark was saying it's like very important, particularly for like brand relationships, that you build the value around you as a
Yeah,
person. You've done a great job of doing that. And again, I think like your generation, that is so rare because
yeah,
I look at like young lads and their social media presence is normally like their face is blurred out or they've got their
mm.
hand in front of their face. I don't
Yeah,
know what
like
all
that,
this
like.
I don't know what this is all about, but because mate, I've been telling Alfie, I'm like, look, get on this social media thing, do it
It
early.
takes a lot, and I think that as well, like, people at our age and Alfie's age, obviously he's only 17, like, you do still think, like, oh, like, my mates might think I'm weird,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
they're gonna take the mick out of me behind my
yeah.
back. But, like, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I don't care. Like, people say, oh, I don't care
Mm.
what people think about me, yeah, but genuinely, I get so much hate on TikTok. Straight over my head it
Do you
goes.
really?
Yeah, I'm not bothered. I don't even delete the comments or nothing. Like, but then I also get weird things, like people message me and be like, "Oh, are you selling your underwear?" And I'm like, "Well, obviously, bloody not. I need it." Do you know what I mean? But yeah, there are weirdos out there, but you've just not got to let them get to you. Like, I would have never have had the confidence. But to be honest, like, the thing that helps me the most is that I've got a small circle. Like, I can count my friends on half of my hand.
Mm.
Like, I don't really have many mates, and I'm not actually ashamed to admit that, because if I still hung around with the people that I did hang around, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah, yeah.
I've separated myself from that, and I'm a bit of a lone soldier, whatever. But that's how I am. How I am. Like, I can just get up my phone and be like, guys,
Mm.
we're just here. Like, because I know that whatever anyone who knows me has got to say, that they're either jealous, they wish
Mm.
they could do it, or they don't know what to do with their life and they just hate the world, so they're just
Mm.
angry. Like, I don't know.
Well, you might have a small friend circle, Lily, but you're creating like your own circle within the industry as
Yeah,
well. Like you're
definitely.
saying, like the community feeling that's there and the people that you're getting to meet and be a part of, like that'll all become your friends.
Yeah.
So there is positivity to it.
Yeah, no, and like, I have made friends, like, obviously me and Lennox are mates. Alfie's
Mm.
my mate. Like decor with Will, like
Yeah.
he's my mate.
Yeah.
Like
Big
I
shout
have,
out to Will. Congrats on
yeah, I
the on
know.
the tools on the tools apprentice of the year,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
yeah,
This year,
apprentice of the year.
yeah, which was wicked. I know
I
Rex
know.
was over
That
the
was
moon
such a
with
good
that one.
night, actually.
Yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. Me and Russ's wife Ange were literally dancing the night away. I
yeah,
remember
true
we were on the
story.
stage. I've got a video of me and Ange on the stage dancing, and then some guys like, "Get off the stage! Get off the stage!" And we're just oblivious, like, who's he talking to? And
Yeah,
then all the lights just came on, and the music went off, and we were all there like, "Oh, it's
last
over."
people standing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was a really good night. But yeah, again, going to those industry events, mate, it's massive. It really is.
Like, I couldn't believe I was there, and I actually got a personal invite off like one of the
Hmm.
on the tools people, and I was like,
But this is what I'm saying, though, Lily. People are recognising how important you are. That's why you're getting the invites. It's not luck. It's not, like you're. No doubt you're sat there going, "Oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful to be invited."
mm,
People are inviting you for a reason. So just keep doing what you're doing. That's all you've got to do because it's so important to have like.
yeah,
And the great thing with you is your your journey's been documented from day one because it's been
mm,
documented from apprenticeship
yeah.
through, and then it's almost like do you know what the Truman Show is? Is that too old?
No,
That's too
no, I
old for
don't
you.
know, but I think that's why
People will know.
people
The
like it.
Truman Show is it was an old movie with Jim Carrey, and like he didn't realize, but his whole life was being recorded. It was like fictional. So I
Yeah,
think even since he was a kid, like they'd made this movie called The Truman Show, or a program called The Truman Show that was like EastEnders to everyone else. But
yeah,
he didn't realize he was in this like manufactured thing. But with you and your apprenticeship, it's like we've got to see it from that level, and to watch you grow now
yeah,
into like say having your own business and
yeah.
whatever opportunities come your way is it's nice.
Yeah, I think that's why like a lot of like my followers or whatever like feel connected to me because
Yeah.
they've seen like where I started versus where I'm at now. And like
Mm,
in October last year, there was an account on Instagram called like Emperor Cutting In or something. I'm not
mm,
sure that they've not got a massive following. I think they've got like maybe 3 to 5K or something on Insta, but they like reached out to me and was like, "Oh, can like we want to use you as our content creator of the year."
mm,
Not of the year, of the month, sorry. They do one every month. So I was the content creator of October, and one of the things that they wrote on there was, "We love how Lily shows like step by step of a journey
mm,
and like the progress." Because like I'll do like a little video on me like when I first started rolling ceilings to now, and
mm,
like I'll admit that it took me a lot to learn how to roll a
mm.
ceiling. I mean, it probably sounds like the easiest thing ever, but for
No.
me as a 5'2" girl, like with no traps, and now I've got traps for days. Do you know what I mean? Like even my traps have come a long way in this thing.
Oh,
Um,
trust me, yeah. Shoulders are definitely going to get a workout in this trade.
yeah,
So you got to
definitely.
look after. I mean, that's advice that I would pass over is just look after yourself.
Yeah,
Like all the safety stuff. So look after your knees, look after your shoulders if you can,
yeah. I've just ordered some
because
knee pads, Dusty Boys.
they're wicked. Yeah, really
Yeah,
good dusty boys are. That yeah, I should wear them more. I'm your typical. Like, I started in the trade dead young myself, so I started going to work with my dad when I was about 10. But I'm third generation, so my granddad started the business. I started going to work with him at 10. I was running jobs for him at 15, took over the business at 17. So I've been doing it 24, 25 years. And I'm one of them that can go, yeah, I should have worn knee pads
yeah.
because my knees give me shit. My right shoulder's been knackered for years. I've got like permanent tendonitis in my shoulder because I can't rest it.
Oh God.
But it's yeah. So the advice, I'll get my violin out there. The advice I would give is just look after yourself and all those things when it comes to like knee pads and just
Yeah,
pay attention because when you're young, you're indestructible. You can't
yeah,
feel it. You're fine. It's quicker to just get on with it, but it catches up with you down the
yeah.
line.
Well, like actually, when I was younger, when I still lived in York, like I was actually like a drama kid, so I was in like all the pantomimes and stuff, and I was a dancer, singer, whatever. I stopped it because like I started getting a bit bored of it, like the competitions and
Mm,
stuff. It was just a lot. But I've always been very active. Like I was a gymnast as well, like
okay.
all backflips and all that sort of stuff.
You do one now?
So probably, like if you asked me to, I probably would. Might pull some, but yeah, I probably could
I
whip
can't be
one out.
responsible for
Like
that,
whenever
to
I
be
go to
fair.
like the trampoline park with like my brother and sister or whatever, I'm there doing like non-handed cartwheels
Do
across
you
the
know what?
trampoline thing.
Actually, because Kev's episode will be aired by the time this one is. So Kev's New Year's resolution this year is to learn to do a handstand. I don't know where it come from, but
That's
but that's
so
it.
funny.
So we've got Kev, who is
I can
learning to
do
do a
handstand.
handstand. We've got Stuart McLean, who does juggling, and I've told him that he needs to start juggling with fire or sharp things to
Yeah.
impress me. So I'm putting together this little circus act now. We've got
Mate,
Lily doing
honestly,
backflips, Kev doing his handstands.
I am like, I could do the trapeze probably if you asked me to. Do you know, like when they walk
Right.
across that line thing?
I'm going to set something up, mate. Honestly, P&D show this year
Yeah.
with you three. I want some kind of like performance.
Yeah, I'll sing a song as well. I actually will. I've got vocals, me.
You sing.
Yeah. So when I was younger,
You know, there's a microphone in front of you
fun
right now, Lily,
fact,
don't you?
fun fact, I was Matilda in a production, and I actually sang, When I Grow Up. Sang that
Did
in
you?
front of like 900 people. Yeah.
Wow.
I've also performed at the Royal Albert Hall in London in like a Tarzan thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my point behind all of this was the fact that like I grew up really active, and like my mum always took us swimming and stuff like that. So I've always been moving, and like. But in lockdown and stuff, and like obviously when I was depressed out my little head, I weren't active at all. And then when I started decorating, like I thought, like, oh God, I can't bend down as far as I used to be able to. Like, what's going on? So then I started going to the gym, and I got in with like a really good like trainer. She's called Camille. Shout out Camille. Train with Cammy. Coach Cammy on Instagram. I love her. Like, I look up to her so much. Like, so she does like training in high rocks and stuff like that.
Okay.
But since I've been training, I find work a lot easier. Like, like obviously hauling like about round big like 20-litre tubs or whatever you've got. Like, if you train your body the correct way, like you're less likely to injure yourself
100%, yeah.
in the trade. Like if you've got that strength in you already and like the muscle memory, I think it's quite important, to be honest.
Yeah. Definitely, mate. I've done both. So I've gone through stages in my life where I'm really like on it with my training, and it is always easier at work. I pull less muscles, less aches and pains.
Yeah.
At the minute, I'm probably in the worst shape I've been in for 10 years.
Dad bod.
Well and truly adopted. Listen, I turned 40 this year, Lily, so it's over for me now. That's it. It's just downhill for me now.
To be honest as well, though, like I'm saying about strength and stuff, but a lot of why I go to the gym is more for in here as well. If I miss a session, like I'll beat myself up about it. I'm not beating myself up about missing last night though, because Friday nights are always a late session, and I've told Cammy it's late because I get home and then I'm just like, whoa, I still want to train. It's like 10 o'clock at night and I'm rattling, and then I can't sleep. And because I knew I was coming here, I knew I needed an early night, so I didn't train last night.
Check you out, prepping yourself. I wish I could say I did the same. So. Little funny story for you, but last night I actually had Hannah and Harry, so colour coded, and
I saw
Harry
a little
Interiors.
selfie.
Yeah. So they were actually recording. They cheated on me, podcast wise. They were recording with Trade Legends. Shout out Trade Legends. That sounds a band. But they were recording over there, which is Redditch, which is half an hour away, and then they came over and we went out for some food and drinks last night.
Oh, Hannah and Harry are lovely as well.
Oh, they're fantastic people. But So Ange came out, we went for food. She's working today, so she went home at about 10, and I did I'll stay for one more drink.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up walking home, and then when I got home, Alfie had heard Ange come in, assumed I was in, and locked all the doors. So locked me out. So I'm stood at 1 o'clock in the morning in my back garden throwing stones at his window like some dodgy film, trying to wake him. I'm ringing both of them. Nobody's answering the phone. I actually thought I was probably about 5 minutes away from walking back here and sleeping on that sofa because I couldn't get back in my house. And eventually Alfie answered the phone. I was like, what's going on? I'm like, mate, you've locked me out. He's like,
At least he's precautious though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wasn't really thankful for it at the time, though, Lily. I'd got my key, but our lock's one of them where you can flip a switch and it like latches it so the key won't do anything. So yeah, couldn't get in my house. So funny story. talking about preparation, it was probably about 1:30 before I went to bed last night. So
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Well, that's why I didn't come too early. And then when I was on the way here, like, I just saw a Mackey's and I was like, hash brown, anyone?
So you still go to Mackey's even after working, after warning everybody off, you'll still go in there.
Yeah.
Fair play, mate.
I
Fair
need a
play.
wee.
Yeah, you carry on. Carry on.
I'll be back, guys. Don't miss me too much.
Right, we're back. Well, Lily's back. More to the point.
I'm back in the room.
More to the point. Lily's back. Where were we?
Where were we? I don't know. I feel like I was weeing for ages then. I've been holding it in for ages.
I said before, you don't need to hold it in, mate. Just go. I'm going to start bringing some like entertainment into the podcast for when guests pop up. I need to maybe learn my own circus skills.
You should put, like, when guests go to the toilet, you know, like in the olden days when they had that clown on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should do that.
How do you even know about that?
My mum told me.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, surely you've never actually witnessed it, have you?
I've witnessed it once. I went to, like, a product testing day with a brand, and on the, like, break where we're all having dinner, they put the clown on the big screen.
Really?
And I was like, oh my God, my mum told me about that.
Do you know, that used to be, though, what was it? I think that was when we had, like, channels 1 to 4, and they stopped broadcasting at a certain time.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, like midnight or whatever. It'd be like programs resume at 6 a.m. and then you'd get that weird ass. Whoever thought of putting that clown thing.
Yeah.
It's got a terrifying like image. Watch too many horror films.
And now it's just like Netflix, Prime, everything's just
everything's 24/7 now. Yeah, it's mad.
I love watching Police Interceptors at the minute.
Is that your thing, is it?
I just don't know why. I just buzz off like people getting caught. And like I was watching one the other day and it was like this transit van, and it was a police chase and it was so interesting. I was like, oh my God, they're going to get him, and they're not. And then they called the chase off and I was like, oh God. But he was like driving down the wrong way on the M6 and everything, like against the cars. And I was like, whoa, he's taking big risks there. He must have done something really bad.
Proper invested, mate.
Yeah, I was. Honestly, I love it. In another life, I would have been a traffic cop.
Traffic cop. Are you happy with your choice, like, in terms of being a painter? Like, are you happy with it?
I think I'm happy with it for now. I mean, I know that I've got more potential to do other things. Like, I want to be a bit of an entrepreneur, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want my own decorating business. Hopefully, I could maybe get someone to look after it for me while I tried doing other things. Like, it just depends what happens in it. Like, I'll see these next couple of years how they go. I definitely do want to, like, do some of my own, like, work before I decide to take anything else on. But like that interior designer that I did the work for over Christmas, one of my mum's friends, she's like told me about this guy that she can put me on who he works for like a wallpapering manufacturer.
Okay.
So like he could like tell me a bit about like what they do and stuff like that. So yeah, there's other things that I want to learn, and I've even thought about doing like a bit of an interior design course maybe, and learning a bit about like architecture.
I've always thought the two go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do.
To be honest, like I don't know why there aren't more crossovers between the two.
Yeah, like I think probably my ideal thing would be like if I could get work that they sort of give me free range, like that I could sort of make the plan of what it's going to be and then also do it as well.
Yeah. Planning and implementation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money to be made in interior design as well.
Yeah, I know.
Like I've worked along some because they'll, you know, if you get into say like specking out the furniture, then there's all the markups on the furniture. So you're putting a chair in for like 600 quid, you've only paid £3 for it.
Yeah.
And that's, if I'm honest with you, the one thing I would say about the construction industry is it's uncapped in terms of the amount of time that you can put into it, but it's kind of capped in terms of the amount of, you can only charge so much for your labour.
Yeah.
So then you can either increase the labour by getting more people in and taking a cut off that, but then that eventually takes you to a position where you would no longer be able to physically work. You're just making commission, or, you know, buying and selling is where a lot of money lies in terms of commissions.
I've always been interested in that as well. Like, I think my dream job would be able to, like, obviously get onto the property ladder and own houses, maybe rent them out or flip them or whatever. Like, I really, really want to get onto a property ladder before I'm 22 maybe if I can.
Why not?
If I can
Absolutely, why not?
make enough pennies. But yeah, I think I'd like to get into that. I've also thought, yeah, like this is just a thought, but like, you know, obviously like so here's my thought, right? So when you're going into like being a landlord and you invest in properties to then rent them out, not all the time, yeah, your tenants are going to be reliable.
Mm.
So I was sort of thinking like that could do you over. So like obviously if you were established and had enough money to invest into doing this, like I think the best way to probably go to make sure that you're gonna like keep it substantial and you're not going to get done over by whoever you rent your property to is like if you go into more of like commercial. So say if you bought like this building that you've got here and then rented it to like Domino's or Tesco or like a co-op, you know that like you're not going to get done over because they're an established business who are renting from you. You know what I mean? Like I don't really know. Like I've spoke to Andy about it. Like I've been like, oh, do you reckon like we could just like get a deposit from the bank and just like buy a building and
Like a
ask
commercial
Tesco?
unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Like I'd do that, but like it's just getting that first like step in it.
You've got. Do you know what though? There's people out there doing it, Lily. So like, you've got to have those ambitious sort of like targets. That's what you
Yeah.
need to do is aim for the stars with it. I
Yeah.
think like what I was touching on earlier, you're surrounding yourself with some great people for that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, again, we use Kev as an example. Kev has like pioneered a lot of the stuff that he's done. He's now got all of his own things like his paintbrushes and his masking tapes and all of the products that he sells. It's good for you at your age as well to be around people like that kind of have no set. They're not pigeonholed in a box of
Yeah.
like, right, I'm a decorator, that's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, being around Kevin, I've found him being around him inspirational where you talk to him and he's like, yeah, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to do the
Yeah.
other. Like to take those limits away, take the blocks out from under the wheels and just go for it.
Yeah.
You know, not everything's going to work. Some things will fail. That's just life. But those, like we talked earlier, if you learn a lesson from it, it's not a failure.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think you're perfectly positioned. It'll be, I want to sit down with you again in like however many years' time,
Yeah. I
two,
think
three
we
years'
should.
time. And we'll have a recap and a catch up.
Yeah, definitely will happen. It will.
Mm.
But like, no, I think overall I am really happy with like the industry that I'm in and how it's going. But then again, like I know that I want to do more, like and employ people.
Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? As I say, you know, you've got a long path ahead.
Yeah.
And it would be boring if you just stuck to one thing, wouldn't
Yeah, and I think the best way to make money is let other people make it for you.
it? There is that. There is definitely that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good position to be in. I don't think anyone would be complaining at that.
So I've dabbled in it. I've worked as a contract manager before where I was suit and trousers. I wasn't actually on the tools.
Okay.
Just comes with different stresses, mate.
Yeah.
So you go from the physical sort of like doing the job to having the knowledge of the job and then getting other people to do it. But then you have to manage people. So that's what you become. You become a people manager.
Yeah, and people are ringing you up like, oh, this paint ain't being delivered. It's like
every Monday morning, I'm ill, mate. You know, I'm feeling really poorly every Monday. And then you see on their Facebook stories that they were out until 3 a.m. and you know what I mean, clubbing over the weekend or whatever it might be. Ill every Monday, unreliable, turning up late. If you're
going to do that, then at least be smart enough to remove you off your stories.
You would be amazed at the amount of people that, it's very transparent. But depending on how you're dealing with people, if you're dealing with subcontractors, you haven't really, you know, you've got nothing over them in terms of they can just leave and go somewhere else. So, yeah, it's not. I'd love to say it was easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, wouldn't they? You tend to find that the challenges just change. So, you like I say, managing people is not easy.
Yeah, I know. And I think as well, like, I feel like we're not getting as many tradespeople coming through as well, yeah, because like people think they can just make money from the phone now, you know, like
Yeah,
stocks and shares
yeah,
and all that, and like
crypto.
crypto, yeah. Like there's this lad in my class at college, yeah, and he comes in, he's like, "Yo, I made 10 grand this week," and I'm like, well, "What you doing here then, love?" You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah,
chatting macker, like not even probably true. And like he bought a BMW, yeah, and he's not even got a driving license.
really.
That's the difference. Like I've got a driving license. I'm driving around in my 2006 Fiesta, mate.
Yeah, yeah. There's always going to be them in life, Lily. To be fair, you're always going to come across those people.
Yeah, no. And some people have got like they talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk, and it's just a little bit like,
Out of interest, there's I've asked the same question to a lot of people on the podcast, but it'd be interesting to get your view on it because of how new to it you are, your age, and all the rest of it. But obviously, when I started the podcast, it was because there's this mental health crisis in construction. You've probably heard me say before, but it's the worst industry in the UK to
yeah.
be in for suicide figures. Um, from your perspective, like, why do you think that is?
I think right. Well, obviously, like I've been in low spots myself,
Mm,
but I'm fortunate that since I've come into the trade, it's actually helped me. But I don't know if that'll last because when I do go self-employed, that might change. That might take a toll on me more than I'm imagining it could. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it. Like there's a lot of talk on like fixed radio and that as well about all of this, and a lot of it I think has got to do with the financial pressure.
yeah.
And like when you are self-employed and you can't take that time off when you're not feeling so good, and if you don't go in you don't get paid, you know what I mean? And I think like when when you are running your own business, you just never get to switch off. So, like, even when you are at home with your family and that, it's like you're still thinking about a million things. So, it's like you never get that time just to, like, shut off
Mm-hmm.
and relax. Like, because I mean, I see it with my own bosses. Like, with Andy, like, some weeks he'll come in and he'll have, like, bags under his eyes. And I'm like, yo, you all right, bro? They'll be like, oh, I was up till 11 o'clock last night sorting a quote out, and then Leo woke me up at 3 in the morning for a bottle, and it's like he's just got a lot on his plate, and I think more and more like people are struggling with it. I mean, especially when you've got kids to think about and stuff, and like if your partner works as well, like it's a lot to have on your plate when you're running a business and a family, and you've got bills to pay, and like the economy is fucked in it. Like everything's just so expensive these days. Like to just to live, like you've got to be making. I mean, apparently, right? The government expects someone, yeah, to be able to live off after you've paid your bills and whatever, yeah, £311 a month. I know because when I moved out, I applied for universal credit, yeah, to see if I could get a bit of help paying
Yeah.
my rent, and they told me no. They basically, yeah, because I have an apprenticeship and I get paid that amount every week I get, and it adds up to a certain number that I'm over the threshold, yeah. But this girl who lives in my building, yeah, she doesn't have an apprenticeship, she doesn't work, yeah, but she gets paid more money from the government that I get paid from my apprenticeship. So it's like, if I quit my apprenticeship, yeah, and just sit on my ass all day, then you'll help me, then you'll pay my rent.
It's backwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it honestly so bad. Like, and even yeah, I went in for a meeting like face to face with them because they were telling like I was getting told one thing, I was getting told another, right? So I went in for a meeting, and you know what she said to me, right? When I come out my time, I've got to prove to them that I'm actively looking for a job. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm going to be self-employed as a decorator. And like, but now because I'm on their system, because I've claimed for UC, like, I don't know, the whole system is it just doesn't make sense.
It's
Like,
broken.
yeah,
Like,
it's so
yeah.
broken.
As far as I see it, I mean, and you've just hit the nail on the head. Like, those that don't want to help themselves get the help,
Yeah,
but those that are trying to help themselves and just need a little extra,
yeah,
you get persecuted for it.
yeah,
So you've got
honestly.
somebody like yourself looking at that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know you wouldn't do it, but you've got people that will look at that and go, well, why would I help myself if I get less? I'm better off doing nothing and
Yeah.
getting more.
Yeah.
And that's why the system's so
Yeah.
screwed.
But
That's why the country is how it is.
there's no room for growth there though.
No.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel in my apprenticeship, whereas like people who get help from the government from sitting in the bed all day, there's no growth and there's no light at the end of the tunnel for them. So I'll stick to what I'm doing, and not gonna lie, at the minute I am struggling a little bit. I'm lucky I get the brand deals that I do, yeah, because they pull me out of the shit a bit.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest, like everything I went through, I nearly got like a solicitor and was going to speak to them about it, because I thought it was actually professional negligence what had happened, because a lot of stuff happened, whatever. I wanted my own space, and that's just what I needed to be able to focus on what I'm doing in my life. So I started looking at like HMOs, flats, house shares, whatever. I was looking at everything. So, pardon me, I got in touch with a woman from Universal Credit, and she said to me, like, you have to have signed a tenancy agreement before you can claim and actually get the money. So she told me, yeah, on the basis that if I sign a tenancy agreement and move into a property, that then she can help me. I told her how much I earn and everything. She said, yeah, we can definitely help you. Honestly, I signed the tenancy agreement, yeah, on the basis that she said that I could get help. And it went on for a few weeks. And then they basically just turned around and said that I'm not eligible and I have to do it on my own. And that's what I've been doing. I have to just make sure that I can make my rent and it gets paid, because I've signed it now. Can't move out. I have to stay there until.
How long have you been living on your own?
For about 4 or 5 months. My agreement runs out in March, and then obviously that's when I might be doing my EPA as well. And yeah, that's going to be a big decision month for me to make. Hopefully, I mean, I'm quite good with my money, I like to think, and I do have a bit behind me to get me out if I need it. But I've got to stay in the building that I'm in now until March. But yeah, like, it is hard, and like I said, like, I'm lucky that I get like a bit of a side hustle from TikTok and Instagram, and my dad does help me as well, like if I need help from him. But it's just annoying, like, that the people can't see that I've got an apprenticeship, I'm trying to help myself. Obviously, apprentice wage, like, it's not my boss's fault what he has to pay me, like that. That's what it is, innit?
Yep.
And that's probably one of the main reasons why I can't wait to just do my own job, so I can be like full whack.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's but fair play to you for like finding those other avenues to get through it, and that's why it's important. You know, again, it's another thing with social media, isn't it? Like, there's point to it if you use it correctly, and if you can then manufacture these brand deals and things like that that certainly are helping you in your position. I'm all for it.
I mean, it's not reliable. Like, I might only get one in 6 months. Do you know what I mean? But like, I've just had a pretty decent one, like, that's just come in, and I'm buzzing with it, and that'll really massively help me out. And I don't actually think that, like, say on the tools or whatever, I don't think they realise how much they genuinely help me. And like, to them, it's like that in it, but to me it's like, wow, that is just a relief off my shoulders. Like, for the next couple of months I can just chill and not have to worry about it and scrimp and scrape and watch what I'm spending. I mean, this past year or so, like, I've realised, like, just little things like toothpaste, sanitary products, it's a joke, mate. It's an absolute joke how much things like that cost. It does my head in. Honestly, it's so annoying. Like, I figured out places like Home Bargains and that now, because like, it's the only place I can go to get my washing up liquid and that. If you go to Tesco or that or anything like that,
Tesco's is mad.
I know.
Like, it's like every item is a minimum of £5.
No, honestly, it's a joke, mate. I do my food shop at like Aldi or Lidl. Oh, you wouldn't catch me in Tesco unless I was treating myself to some nice strawberries, because Aldi fruit is questionable.
There's nothing wrong with that though, Lily. And that's from me. I hate food shopping with a passion. Alfie moans about it all the time because there's never any food in the house. But I hate it with a passion. But when I do, when I have to go, I've started going to Aldi myself.
Yeah.
And I used to shop at Tesco all the time, but I see, like, I can go in and get a basket of food, not even a trolley, a basket, and I'm dropping £100.
Yeah.
I'm like, how has that happened? I walk out with 2 bags. I'm like, I don't know how that's
It's a
happened. It's just
joke.
robbery.
Yeah, it
But you can
is.
go to Aldi and get, like 100 quid will set you up for a week.
Yeah, well,
So,
obviously I'm on my own, and like I take packed lunches to work with me, and I think for the past few weeks I've been spending like 45 quid in Aldi on a Sunday morning, and then it lasts me until the next Sunday. I always do my shopping on a Sunday.
fair play to you.
But yeah, I am quite resourceful like that. And like sometimes I go to my mum's and I just like take a bottle of like bleach.
Just robbing
Like,
stuff from your
yeah.
mums. Mate, do you know what? I think this conversation has been like a real it's been an eye opener for me, so it'll be an eye opener for everyone else. Like a little insight into you and like what's behind, because with your socials and that, you're high energy, bubbly, happy, but you've had a journey to get there, which I know is what you wanted to get across. But I think it will have done that perfectly. Like people
Yeah.
just see a little bit more now, and hopefully, if some brands are listening, give Lily some more deals.
I know,
Help her
innit?
out.
I'm
Let's
crying poverty.
we're gonna start a campaign called "Let's Get Lily to Tesco's," and
Yeah,
we
let's
we
get me to
want
Tesco.
Lily shopping in Tesco by the end of 2025.
And a van as well. I need a van.
There we go. Let's get Lily a van and Tesco shopping.
Yeah.
You've made it. Mind you, to be fair, I think anyone's made it if they can afford to do their weekly
I
shop
know.
in
Yeah,
Tesco these days.
honestly. Yeah.
But mate, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure sitting, and again, I'm really thankful that you've been as open as you have.
Yeah.
About certain subjects that I know are difficult to talk
Well, you've
about.
made me feel like comfortable as well, though, Russ. Like it's a lot to do with you. How I
Thank
feel
you.
like I can talk openly about scenarios and situations. So
Yeah.
thank you for making me feel relaxed. But I feel like all of what we've just talked about has gone a bit of a blur now. Like
You'll
I
be
don't
able to
even
listen back in a
like
few
what have we
weeks. What
even
have we
just
said?
spoke about? Yeah.
Lord, I'm sure there's plenty more to come. We'll
Yeah,
definitely
there
sit
will.
down again in the future because I
Yeah.
want to, keep track. And I'm interested myself, like just on a personal side, to watch you grow and watch and see where you go with it.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
it's a nice journey to watch. It's great for the industry. It's good to see. And like I said, thank you for shining the light on the industry that you are, because it is really important. I don't think you probably don't realise just how important it is to have yourself and people like you doing that. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about, Lily, that you wanted to
Do you
talk
know
about?
what? Not that I can think of off the top of my head. On the way home when I'm driving, I might be like,
Should have
oh,
said
God,
this.
as if I didn't
Yeah.
mention that.
Well, listen, mate, the door's always open for
Yeah.
episode 2.
But like when
So
it comes out and if there is anything, I'll just like tell people on my story and just be like, guys, I forgot to say this. they'll get updated. It's fine.
for anyone that's watching that doesn't already follow you, where do people find you?
Well, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram. I am on Facebook, but like I hardly really make an appearance on there. I'm not gonna lie. But Painting with Lily, 1L. Everyone always puts 2, and it annoys me. It's 1L. It's spelled like the flower.
And is that the same on both? So that's TikTok and Insta is...
Yeah, on TikTok it's got an underscore after it, but I don't think anyone else has like a painting account like mine.
There
So
you go.
my face is on there. I've got like goggles and a hat on and that. You'll see me.
I'll Lily's details will be in the episode description as well. So you should, depending on where you're watching it, you should be able to just click and it'll take through to your Instagram account or wherever I can link it up to. Lily, thank you again, mate. Thank you again for making the effort, the journey to come down and spend this time having a chat with me.
No problem
I'll look
at
forward
all.
to the catch-up episode down the line and we can find out exactly, how many wallpaper designs you've released.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure. To everyone
thank
listening,
you so much.
Thank you very much for listening. Be sure to do all that stuff, the like, share, subscribe stuff that I normally beg on about. Do all that for me, please. And I'll catch you soon on the next one.
Yes. Goodbye. Thank you. Peace out.